The coldest prison on Earth didn't need walls. It didn't need electric fences. It didn't even need guard towers, because the frozen wilderness of Siberia was the perfect prison. Anyone who escaped would freeze to death long before finding another human being. After World War II ended, thousands of German soldiers were captured by the Soviet Union. Instead of sending them home, they were forced into brutal labor camps where survival itself became a daily battle. Every morning, the prisoners marched into deadly lead mines. The toxic dust slowly poisoned their lungs, while the freezing wind drained every ounce of strength from their bodies. The camp's security looked surprisingly weak. Only a few guards, a few fences. Almost anyone could slip away, but nobody ever tried. Because beyond those fences waited 14,000 kilometers of frozen wilderness. No towns, no roads, no food, just endless ice and certain death. Most prisoners had already accepted their fate. They believed they would die inside this camp. But one man refused to surrender. His name was Clem Farrell. He had been sentenced to 25 years. But every single day, he thought about only one thing: getting back to his wife and little daughter. One freezing night, destiny finally gave him a chance. A coal train slowed near the prison, and without hesitation, Clem climbed inside one of the freight cars. For the first time in years, he looked up at the open sky. The stars were shining above him. Freedom felt so close, almost real. Then, the train suddenly stopped. Silence. Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Clem slowly looked up and found himself staring directly into the barrel of a Soviet soldier's rifle. The moment Clem climbed out of the train, he froze. A Soviet guard was already waiting for him. His rifle pointed straight at Clem's chest. His first escape had lasted only a few minutes. Without saying a single word, the soldiers dragged him back through the prison gates. Every prisoner silently watched, knowing exactly what would happen next. Instead of throwing him into a normal cell, they locked him inside an open-air cage where the freezing Siberian wind became his jailer. For 2 endless days, he had no warmth, almost no food, and no shelter. Every hour felt like another step toward death. But something inside him refused to break, even in the cold, even in the pain. He kept repeating one promise: I'm going home. On the 3rd morning, the prison warden finally arrived. He unlocked the cage and smiled. But it wasn't kindness. It was punishment. Your friends have been waiting for you, the warden said. Clem didn't understand until he saw them. The other prisoners hadn't eaten for 2 days because of his escape attempt. Now, they wanted revenge. The second Clem stepped forward, the prisoners attacked. Wooden clubs crashed into his body from every direction. No one showed mercy. Clem never fought back. He simply covered his head and endured every painful blow until he collapsed into the snow. Hours later, Clem opened his eyes inside the prison hospital. Every bone in his body ached, but he was still alive. Standing beside him was the prison doctor, a German prisoner, just like him. Instead of calling him reckless, the doctor admired his courage, because almost nobody had ever dared to escape this prison. I want to try again, Clem said quietly. I'd rather die trying than spend 25 years in this place. The doctor looked into Clem's eyes, then whispered, if you stay here, you're going to die anyway. The lead mines are poisoning your body. Every breath you take brings you closer to cancer. Then the doctor made a decision, one that could cost him everything. From inside the cabinet, he pulled out warm winter clothes, strong leather boots, a compass, and even a rifle. The doctor quietly placed the survival gear on the table. I've been collecting these supplies for years, because I always dreamed of escaping. The doctor bowed his head. But a week ago, I learned the truth. I have cancer. The lead dust destroyed my body. I only have a few weeks left to live. So now, my escape ends with you. Then he handed Clem a small metal lunchbox. It wasn't food. It was his final goodbye. If you survive, please find my family. Tell them I never stopped loving them. Clem silently nodded. No words, just a promise that meant everything. That night, under the cover of darkness, Clem escaped once again. But this time, he didn't board a train. He disappeared into the endless frozen. By sunrise, the guards discovered he was gone. The prison exploded into chaos. The furious warden stormed into the doctor's office, but he was already too late. The doctor had taken his own life, choosing freedom in death instead of dying as a prisoner. As soldiers spread across Siberia searching for one escaped prisoner, Clem kept walking, straight into the frozen unknown. Within hours, dozens of Soviet search teams spread across the frozen wilderness. The warden refused to believe Clem was dead, He knew one thing: Clem never gave up. Far away from the prison, Clem walked through endless snow. Every step pushed him farther from captivity and closer to freedom. 9 days passed. His legs felt numb. His food was almost gone, but turning back was never an option. That night, he heard barking, loud, getting closer. He turned around and saw a dog sled racing straight toward him. Before he could move, the sled slammed into him. Everything went black. Clem suddenly opened his eyes. Breathing hard. It wasn't real, just another nightmare. The truth was even worse. He had almost no food left. His body was slowly shutting down. Still, he forced himself to stand. One more step, then another. That was how he survived. Somewhere beyond the endless ice, hope was waiting. He just had to stay alive long enough. To find it. Days turned into weeks. The freezing wind never stopped. Clem kept walking until his body finally gave up. He lay unconscious for hours. Alone. In the middle of nowhere. A strange sound pulled him back to life. Something was moving nearby. Then he saw it. A seal resting peacefully on the ice. Hope rushed back into his eyes. Food, real food. For the first time in days, he pulled the trigger. The shot echoed across the frozen silence, but he missed. The seal raced toward the water. Clem ignored the pain and ran after it. He had only one bullet left. One chance. To survive. Bang! This time, the bullet found its target. For the first time in days, Clem smiled. He wasn't just eating a meal. He was buying himself another chance to live. The seal kept him alive, but food wasn't enough. Out here, the silence could destroy a man's mind. To stay sane, Clem started talking to himself. Every word became another reason. To keep moving. One more step. You can do this. Your family is waiting. Those words became his fuel. Whenever the snow erased his tracks, he trusted only one thing: his compass. Day after day, week after week, he refused to change direction. 2 long months passed. Then, something unbelievable appeared. A single tree, standing alone. In the frozen wilderness. Clem ran toward it, wrapped his arms around the trunk, and broke down in tears. That tiny tree meant only one thing: he had finally escaped the Arctic Circle. The impossible was becoming possible. But hundreds of miles away, the warden still hadn't given up. His hunt was only getting bigger. The warden slammed his fist onto the map. Expand the search. 500 kilometers in every direction. He refused to believe Clem had disappeared. By now, Clem had reached the edge of a frozen forest. For the first time in months, he wasn't surrounded by endless ice. He stepped beneath the towering trees, not knowing nature was about to test him again. Without warning, a violent blizzard exploded through the forest. The wind roared like a monster. The storm became stronger, until even giant trees began crashing to the ground. Clem tried to escape, but it was too late. A massive tree crashed directly onto him. Everything faded into darkness. He thought this was the end. Then, he heard voices. Not soldiers, not wolves. People. 3 gold prospectors, Sam, Chorn, and Matten. They pulled the tree away and saved his life. For the first time since escaping the prison, Clem wasn't alone anymore. His impossible journey had become a team effort. For days, the 4 men pushed deeper through the frozen wilderness. Every mile behind them meant another mile farther from the prison. Eventually, the forest came to an end, but another obstacle stood in their way. A wide, ice-cold river. There was no bridge. And no crossing. If they wanted to survive, they would have to build one themselves. Hour after hour, they tied the locks together, creating a small wooden raft. It was risky, but it was their only chance. The raft slowly drifted into the freezing current. For a brief moment, everything seemed peaceful. The men laughed, shared stories from childhood, and imagined the lives waiting for them beyond this frozen world. Then, without warning, the river turned violent. The current grabbed the raft and dragged it downstream. Sam lost his balance. He slipped and disappeared beneath the freezing water. Sam couldn't swim. Within seconds, the river began pulling him under. Without thinking twice, Clem jumped into the freezing water, not for freedom, but to save a friend. The freezing water stole every breath from Clem's lungs. Fighting the current with every ounce of strength, Clem dragged Sam toward the riverbank. Somehow, they survived. But when they looked up, the raft was gone, and so was Matten. Matten never looked back. Him. Gold was worth more than friendship. Hours later, Matten found an old cabin hidden deep in the forest. He believed he was finally safe. Thinking Sam was dead, Matten stole his share of the gold and every valuable item he owned. But destiny had other plans. The cabin door slowly opened, and Clem walked in. Sam was right behind him. Sam stared at the stolen gold. He finally understood. His friend had betrayed him. Without another word, Sam raised his rifle. One shot changed everything. The sound echoed through the forest. Matten fell. His greed had ended his journey. Now, only Clem and Sam remained. Matten was gone. Now only two men remained, Clem and Sam together. They continued walking toward freedom. Weeks turned into months. The road never became easier. Every sunrise meant another battle to stay alive. Then winter returned. The forests disappeared beneath another blanket of snow. The cold became even more unforgiving. Sam carried heavy bags filled with gold. With every step, the weight pulled him deeper into the snow. Clem stopped and offered to help. Let me carry some of the weight. But fear changes people. Sam remembered Matten's betrayal, and suddenly he didn't trust anyone. Without warning, Sam attacked. His fist slammed into Clem's face. Clem crashed into the snow. Everything faded into darkness. Sam grabbed his gold and walked away alone. Hours later, Clem slowly opened his eyes. Something didn't feel right. He wasn't alone. From the trees, a pack of hungry wolves quietly stepped into view. Their eyes were locked on him. The wolves moved closer, slowly, patiently. They knew he was weak. Clem struggled to his feet, but there was nowhere left to run. Then he spotted one last chance, a tall pine tree. Using every ounce of strength, he climbed, just seconds before the wolves reached him. The wolves jumped again and again, their teeth snapping just inches away. But the tree couldn't hold his weight forever. A loud crack echoed through the forest. The tree crashed to the ground. Clem closed his eyes, certain this was the end. Then, gunshots shattered the silence, one after another. When Clem opened his eyes, the wolves were gone. A group of local hunters had arrived, just in time. The hunters lifted Clem onto a sled and carried him toward their village. For the first time in years, he was finally surrounded by people who wanted to help. When Clem opened his eyes, he wasn't lying in the snow anymore. He was inside a warm wooden cabin for the first time in years. He felt safe. The villagers treated his wounds, fed him hot soup, and asked for nothing in return. After years of fear, kindness felt almost unbelievable. But deep inside, Clem knew he couldn't stay. Days later, a government notice arrived. Every face in the village suddenly changed. The warden had sent a warning. A German prisoner has escaped. Anyone who helps him will be charged with treason. Clem understood immediately. If he stayed, these innocent people would suffer because of him. Before sunrise, he said goodbye ... and no tears, just silent gratitude. The villagers filled his backpack with food, warm clothes, and one unexpected gift. A loyal hunting dog, strong, fearless, ready to follow him anywhere. As Clem walked away, he wasn't alone anymore. This faithful companion would stand beside him through whatever came next. For days, Clem and his loyal hunting dog traveled together through frozen valleys, across empty roads, always moving west. One afternoon, ... an old flour mill appeared in the distance. ... It was the first real workplace Clem had seen in years. The dog smelled fresh food and ran toward the mill. Without hesitation, Clem followed. The workers stared at the exhausted stranger. Instead of calling the police, they brought him inside. Clem told them everything. The prison, the escape, the impossible journey across Siberia. The workers believed him. They gave him food, fresh clothes, and a train ticket to Germany. But behind Clem's back, the mill owner made one phone call. A call ... to the prison warden. As the train approached the station, Clem looked out the window, and his heart stopped. The warden was waiting. Before the train could stop, Clem grabbed his backpack, opened the door, and jumped. The soldiers spotted him instantly. The chase had begun again. And this time ... It would cost someone everything. Clem sprinted across the frozen railway tracks. Behind him, the soldiers were closing in fast. There was nowhere left to hide. Then, out of the blowing snow, the warden stepped directly into his path. For one long second, everything stood still. Clem knew years of sacrifice could end right here. Before anyone could react, the hunting dog charged straight at the warden. The warden fell into the snow for the first time. The road was open. A rifle cracked through the air. One single shot changed everything. Clem looked back. His loyal friend lay motionless in the snow. The dog had given its life ... to save his. Every part of him wanted to stop, but he knew his dog hadn't sacrificed everything for him to give up now. Ahead, A moving freight train thundered beneath an old steel bridge. Clem took one deep breath and jumped. He hit the train hard, but he was alive. The prison, the soldiers, and the warden disappeared into the distance once again. 7 years passed. It was now 1952. After thousands of miles, Clem was still alive, but home was still one final journey away. At a small village fair, the smell of fresh pancakes filled the air. Clem hadn't eaten a real meal in days, but he had no money. A young woman noticed the hunger in his eyes. Without saying a word, she broke a pancake in half and handed it to him. That simple act of kindness reminded Clem that humanity still existed. Someone had been watching. An elderly Jewish man who had once been a prisoner of war himself. Instead of reporting him, the old man took Clem home. He gave him clean clothes, a hot bath, and something even more valuable: hope. Before dawn, the old man handed Clem a forged passport. This is your chance, don't waste it. Weeks later, Clem finally reached the Soviet border. One checkpoint stood between him and freedom. The guard studied the passport, looked into Clem's eyes, then quietly handed it back. You may pass. Clem stepped onto the bridge. Halfway across, a bright light stopped him. He turned around and saw the warden one last time. For a moment, neither man spoke. The warden looked at the prisoner who had survived the impossible. Then, the warden slowly stepped aside. No handcuffs. No orders. No gunfire. Only respect. After 7 impossible years, Clem crossed the border. As a free man. He walked to the small church where his wife and daughter had gone every Sunday, praying he was still alive. His daughter looked up. Their eyes met, and in an instant, she knew her father had come home. His wife stood frozen in disbelief, then wrapped her arms around him after years of heartbreak. Their family was finally together again. Some prisons are built with walls, others are built with fear. Clem Farrell escaped both and proved that hope can survive even the coldest place on earth.